Butlins is a chain of large holiday camps in the United Kingdom. Butlins was founded by Billy Butlin to provide affordable holidays for ordinary British families. Between 1936 and 1966, 10 camps were built, including one in Ireland and one in the Bahamas. In the 1970s and 1980s, Butlins also operated numerous large hotels, including one in Spain, a number of smaller holiday parks in England and France, and a revolving restaurant in the Post Office Tower in London. Tough competition from overseas package holiday operators, rising operational costs, and rapidly changing demand, forced many of the Butlins operations to close in the 1980s and 1990s. 3 of the original camps remain open under the Butlins brand in Bognor Regis, Minhead, and Skegness. They are now owned and run by Butlins Skyline Limited, a subsidiary company of Bourne Leisure Limited, which also operates other leisure brands in the British Isles, including Warner Leisure Hotels and Haven Holidays. Butlins runs a variety of family fun activities and entertainments, many of which are included in the price of a holiday. Redcoats provide entertainment, organize activities, and act as hosts. The annual Bugged Out Weekender is one of these activities, with the 2016 highlight being a special guest appearance from Daniel Bott. History. Billy Butlin's inspiration for his holiday camp empire came from an unhappy holiday on Barry Island in his youth, when he had been locked out of his bed and breakfast accommodation all day by his landlady, which was normal practice at the time. The first of the Butlins holiday camps was opened by Billy Butlin in 1936 in Skegness, following his success in developing amusement parks. A second camp quickly followed in Clacton, and construction Filey Holiday Camp began in 1939. With the outbreak of the Second World War, building at Filey was postponed, and the camps at Skegness and Clacton were given over for military use. Wartime use of Butlins camps continued, with resorts at Ayr, Filey, and Pwllheli being completed and opened as military camps. This camp was later renamed Wanderist World, and is now owned and run by Haven, part of Bourne Leisure, who own both brands. In 1945, with the war over, Filey was reopened as a holiday camp. The camps at Skegness and Clacton opened in 1946, Ayr and Pwllheli in 1947 and Mosney on the east coast of Ireland in 1948. Butlins became popular in post-war Britain, with family entertainment and activities available for the equivalent of a week's pay. In 1948 Billy Butlin acquired 2 hotels in the Bahamas, and in the 1950s Butlins began opening hotels in England and Wales, Saltdean, Brighton, Blackpool and 5 in Cliftonville. Further post-war camps were opened in the 1960s at Bognor Regis, Minhead and Barry Island. The camps at Ayr and Skegness also had separate self-contained hotels within their grounds. In later years, they were joined by further hotels in Scarborough, Llandudno, London, a 6th hotel at Cliftonville and one in Spain. In the 1960s and 1970s, the company also operated the Top of the Tower revolving restaurant at the then-named Post Office Tower in London. In 1968 Billy Butlin's son Bobby took over the management of Butlins, and in 1972 the business was sold to the Rank organisation for £43 million. The number of camps peaked at 10 between 1966 and 1980, but the business experienced the problems of the British seaside holiday industry in general, with the introduction of cheap package holidays to Mediterranean resorts from the 1960s onwards. It also had a specific image problem of being seen as providing regimented holidays, which caused it to all but abandon the Butlins name at its remaining resorts between 1987 and 1990. The camps at Clacton and Filey closed in 1983, and the camp at Barry was sold in 1986. The lease on the Top of the Tower restaurant expired in 1980. In 1998 the camps at Ayr and Pwllheli were rebranded as Haven Park. All the Butlins hotels of the 1950s to 1990s were sold in 1998, but most are still open today under different ownership. The Art Deco-style Ocean Hotel at Saltdean has been redeveloped into apartments, and the hotels at Cliftonville have both been demolished. In April 1998 the Holiday World's branding was dropped for the remaining resorts in favor of returning the emphasis to the core Butlins name. Subsequently in September 2000, the resorts and brand was sold to Bourne Leisure. A new Butlins logo was also introduced in mid-1998, which has subsequently undergone several modifications and was used until 2011, when Butlins introduced a design similar to their original logo. The new logo was originally supposed to be only used temporarily to commemorate the 75th anniversary of Butlins, but its use continued into 2012 and 2013 and is now the official logo. In 2005, the new £10 million Shoreline Hotel was unveiled at the Bognor Regis Resort to expand on the existing variety of apartments on the site. The hotel, styled with an Art Deco theme, aimed to offer luxury accommodation in conjunction with the entertainment and facilities at the resort. Each of the 160 rooms features floor-to-ceiling windows, twin or king-size beds, leatherette chairs, televisions, DVD players and en-suite facilities. Some have sea views. A second hotel, called Ocean Hotel, opened at Bognor in 2009, styled to a high contemporary standard. Locations, sorted alphabetically, in addition to these main locations known at various times as holiday camps, holiday centers, holiday villages, holiday worlds, and more recently as resorts, Butlins also operated numerous smaller holiday parks in England and France for several years during the late 1970s. These were known as Freshfields Holidays, and were more basic parks with far fewer facilities and little or no entertainment. They were aimed at those wanting a quieter, more relaxed holiday. Facilities = accommodation = Butlins resorts offer various accommodation options to cater for different tastes and budgets. These range from standard rooms and apartments to silver, gold, and deluxe rooms and apartments for higher levels of luxury. There are also Blue Skies apartments available at Minhead, and 3 luxury hotels at Butlins Bognor. Butlins is widely known for its iconic chalet accommodation, which was originally the only form of accommodation and consisted of many long lines of single bedrooms in blocks known as chalet lines. These were arranged so that each line of chalets faced another line, with a grassed area in the middle. Originally there were no toilets in individual chalets and the furnishings were very basic. Many of these chalet lines are still in use today, but have been enlarged and significantly upgraded to modern standards. All chalets now have en-suite bathroom facilities. One of the very first chalets is still standing at the Skegness Resort, and is now heritage listed and a historical display only. Skyline Pavilion The Skyline Pavilion is a large area within each resort that is enclosed under a white tensile fabric canopy. These were created in 1998 by linking together several pre-existing buildings so that space within those buildings could be used to provide all-weather facilities within the Skyline Pavilions. Each Skyline Pavilion contains a stage, a cafe and associated seating, a bar, restaurants such as Burger King, an amusement arcade, an information counter, and various shops selling novelties, souvenirs, and groceries. Many of the other venues and attractions in the resort can be accessed directly from within the Skyline Pavilion also. Splash Water World Each resort features a large indoor water park known as Splash Water World. These contain several water slides, spas, a wave pool, and a lazy river. There is also a shallow pool area for young children, and sometimes an area for serious swimming. Minhead also has an outdoor toddler pool that is open in the summer months. Guests and day visitors can use these facilities at no additional cost. Skegness Resort has recently opened a £16 million redevelopment of the Splash Water World that features 2 new octane flumes, a new dinghy ride, a rope walk challenge, a lazy river, a poolside cafe and DJ. It also has a new outdoor fountain area that replaced the outdoor pool. The fountains go along with music and lights. Entertainment There are various entertainment venues within the resorts including 2 large show bars known as Center Stage, and Reds. Additionally there are ABC Cinemas, Jack's, Crazy Horse, Hot Shots 10-pin bowling center with bar and snooker tables, Green Bay's Snooker Hall, and several additional bars, pubs, and cafes which vary from one Butlins resort to another. Nearly all entertainment is included in the cost of the holiday or day visitor entry. Most recently, in May 2013 was the opening of the Character Theatre in Bognor, which is in the place of the cinema. Sports and recreation. Butlins resorts offer a variety of sports sessions and coaching, for example archery, fencing, tennis, table tennis, and soccer. Most of these sessions are included in the cost of holiday or day visitor entry price. For general recreation, facilities include multi-sports courts, adventure golf, adventure playgrounds, water zorbing, high ropes courses, funfair, inflatable castles/pillows, and go-karts. Minhead Resort also offers bumper boats, donkey rides, use of the adjacent golf course, and Exmar Adventures country leisure pursuits. An additional charge usually applies for most of these activities, although the funfair is free. Skegness and Bognor resorts each have a spa complex for massage, swimming, facials and other popular spa treatments. Children's activities. There are a number of attractions and facilities at each resort provided especially for younger children. These include playgrounds, a supervised arts and crafts room, Bob's Yard, a junior driving school with small go-karts for children, and a nursery which can care for children and keep them entertained whilst parents enjoy other activities in the resort. Bognor Regis. Butlins Bognor opened in 1960. The camp later became known as South Coast World until 1998 and is now known as Butlins Bognor Regis Resort. In 1999 it was renovated again with the construction of a skyline pavilion. In 2005, a new £10 million hotel, called the Shoreline, was unveiled at the Bognor Regis Resort. A second hotel, the Ocean, opened on the site in summer 2009 and general landscaping and upgrading also took place. In July 2012 a third hotel, the Wave Hotel, was opened to guests. Minhead. Butlins Minhead was opened to the public on May 26, 1962. It underwent substantial renovation in the 1980s, being renamed Someris World. In 1998 it was renovated again with the construction of a skyline pavilion. Since 1999 the Minhead Resort has undergone further aesthetic upgrades. However, most of the original buildings remain, including almost all the original chalets. As such, Minhead is now the last remaining Butlins camp that is still largely as Sir Billy designed it. Mosney. Mosney was the first Butlins camp outside the UK. The camp opened in 1948, occupying some 200 acres of a former country estate. In 1982, Butlins sold the camp, which was renamed Mosney Holiday Centre. The camp continued without substantive changes, however the last season for Mosney was 2000. Dwindling visitor numbers and problems finding staff for the short 12-week season eventually led to the camp's closure. In December 2000 a 5-year deal was signed with the government to turn Mosney into a refugee centre. Mosney is now home to 700 refugees from over 20 different countries. Like Minhead, most of the original buildings remain, including all the original chalets. Mosney is the only camp that has changed little since it was opened. Skegness. Butlins Skegness was the first of Billy Butlin's holiday camps. The camp opened in 1936 but was taken over for military use in 1939, and known as HMS Royal Arthur. The camp reopened to holiday makers in 1946. In 1987 the site underwent renovation with the construction of a modern fun pool and modernized accommodation. At this time the site was renamed Fincoast World. In 1998 it was renovated again with the construction of a skyline pavilion and since that time has undergone further improvements and maintenance. In 2011 the resort underwent more development with the introduction of a new guest catering restaurant called The Deck, a new Italian-styled restaurant called Ludo's. In 2013 the new Splash Water World opened, adding a new $16 million state-of-the-art pool area to the resort, and plans have recently been submitted to modernize the resort once again with further investment into new restaurants and stores. Barry Island. Butlins Barry Island was the last of Billy Butlin's holiday camps. The camp opened in 1966 and was sold to Majestic Holidays in 1987. Air. Butlins was built by Billy Butlin as a naval training camp in 1940. The camp opened to the public in 1946. In 1948 Butlin also opened a hotel on the site and a railway station serving the camp. In 1987 a refurbishment saw the camp rebranded Wanderist World and the creation of a new indoor fun pool along with modernized accommodation. The site was rebranded to sister company Haven Holidays in 1999 and renamed Craig Tara. Since then, the focus has moved to replacing the original chalets with static caravans. PWLLHELI. Butlins PWLLHELI was built by Billy Butlin as a naval training camp in 1940. After the war, the camp opened to the public in 1947. In 1987 a refurbishment saw the camp renamed Star Coast World and the creation of a new indoor fun pool along with modernized accommodation. In 1999 the site was rebranded to sister company Haven Holidays and renamed Hafanwaimawa. Special events. Music weekends. Butlins music weekends are over 18s only and are offered regularly across all of the 3 resorts. Each weekend has a different musical theme, including soul music, alternative, folk, disco, and rock and blues. They also have decade-themed weekends from the 1960s to the 2000s. Butlins music weekends have played host to big-name acts such as Beverly Knight, Brand New Heavies, Toya, The Buzzcocks, Rick Astley, David Jest and Friends and many more. Madness have also held 3 weekends in Minhead on their House of Fun tour, taking over the whole resort for the weekend. Spring Harvest The largest Christian conference in Europe takes place at the Minhead and Skegness sites every Easter. The event attracts some 55,000 Christians from a range of denominations and plays host to many preachers, Christian musicians and dramatic artists. In previous years, the event has also been hosted at the Air and PWLLHELI camps. All Tomorrow's Parties All Tomorrow's Parties is a music festival which takes place at Minhead. Named after the song All Tomorrow's Parties by the Velvet Underground, it is an alternative to larger mainstream festivals and is presented in a more intimate environment than a giant stadium or huge country field. All Tomorrow's Parties is a sponsorship-free festival where the organizers and artists stay in the same accommodation as the fans. Block Weekend Block Weekend is an annual music festival, devoted to electronic music of several genres, and incorporates both DJ sets and live shows. The first 2 block events took place at Pontins Holiday Camp in Norfolk. The 2009 event, which took place during March 15, was moved to the larger Minhead Resort. The 5,000 capacity event still sold out before the festival began. In 2010 and 2011, Block returned to Minhead for another sold-out show. Butlins and Dodgem Cars, a brand of bumper cars, were manufactured in the USA by Dodgem Cars Limited. Billy Butlin saw them and obtained the UK franchise. As a result, a Skegness fun fair owned by Billy Butlin saw the first Dodgem's cars in the UK in 1923. Butlin's Beaver Club on the radio. In 1956 Butlin's Beaver Club a Euro with Uncle Eric Winstrun was heard in the United Kingdom and much of continental Europe on Sunday nights at 6 p.m. over the 208 m wavelength of Radio Luxembourg. Reds TV, the origins of the in-house TV system began in 1995 when Butlins decided to make use of the then empty 5th channel. A teletext system was installed, together with the backing of incidental music, overseen by Redcoat stage manager Tony Filer a Euro, and piped through to the guests' chalets to provide first an alternative, then an accompaniment to the printed program of events. Filer installed a video camera in the new studio to enable visiting celebrity interviews and Know Your Redcoats discussions to be shown. The Butlins Channel 5 feet name was changed to BTV a year before the new 5th terrestrial TV channel emerged a Euro, and later became known as Reds TV. Publicity Butlins badges When booking in on arrival at Butlins, each camper was issued with an enamel badge to wear for the duration of their holiday. The badge granted the camper readmission to the site should they take a trip out during their stay. Badges were worn with pride. campers kept badges from previous holidays and wore them all on a ribbon. Each year a different badge was produced for each camp with the name of the camp and the year forming part of the design. The badges were made of die-stamped metal, highly polished or chrome-plated with a brightly colored design made of vitreous enamel using a process similar to charm lever copyright, but the troughs being stamped in rather than carved. Each camp had at least one badge each year, with most of the larger camps having several color variations throughout the season for improved security. Occasionally, two different designs would be used in one season. Each badge was handmade by jewelry manufacturers in London, Dublin or in Birmingham's Jewellery Quarter. The quality and beauty of the badges has ensured that many survive as heirlooms and are very collectible. A collection of one badge per camp per year would total 192 badges. However, the myriad color variations and additional special badges would take the collection to over 1,200 badges. Additional badges included second week badges, staff badges, concessionaire badges, committee badges, Christmas badges, Beaver Club badges, reunion badges and many others. Badges were not issued during Second World War years of 1940 to 1945 as the camps were taken over by the government and used as accommodation for war service personnel. Notable badges include Skegness 1,936 feet and Filey 1,945 feet, which features the V for Victory in its design and is an exception to Gap of the war years as the camp was the first to reopen after the war just in time for the end of the season in August 1945. Barry Island 1965 is the holy grail of Butlins badges. The camp didn't open that year as planned. The badges were manufactured but never issued. Some examples survive. The original badges were issued every year from 1936 until 1967. In 2004, Butlins has again begun selling similar style badges in their on-resort souvenir shops. Some of these are of a more modern design, whilst some are close or exact replicas of badges from Butlins' earlier days. The current badges however serve no purpose in identifying guests and are available purely as nostalgic souvenirs. Many regular guests like to swap badges with Butlins staff, who often have special badges to swap which are not otherwise available to guests. The badge collection ribbons are also sold in Butlins shops and may be used to pin multiple badges to. Members of the Premier Club receive a free badge each time they visit, with a new design given each year. Slogans equals. Throughout most of its history, Butlins has regularly advertised using various media. Examples of slogans include, 2014 to present Butlins by the Sea, same as the 1960s slogan, 2012 to 2014 our true intent is all for your delight, 2011 happy days then happiness is. 2010 isn't it time you came round to Butlins? 2007 a 2009 altogether more fun, 2005 a 2007 kids love it, approximately 2002 a 2004 a million holidays. 1 Butlins, approximately 1999 a 2002 come to life. Come to Butlins, 1990s let yourself go, and you won't want to leave, and no one for family fun, mid-1980s Butlin it once and you'll do it again. Early 1980s a little bit of this, and quite a lot of that, 1970s Butlinland is Freedomland, and a holiday that's out of this world. 1960s you'll have a really wonderful time at Butlins by the Sea. Early slogans from the 1930s to 1950s included our true intent is all for your delight, a week's holiday for a week's pay, holidays are jollidays, and holidays with pay. Holidays with play. Butlins in popular culture, due to its immense popularity and cultural significance as a major force in improving the standard of holidays for the British public, Butlins has appeared in popular culture too many times to list here. However, below are a few notable examples. The 1947 film Holiday Camp was filmed mainly on location at Butlins Filey, although the establishing shot was of Butlins Skegness. On the show The Two Ronnies there was a sketch parodying the BBC war drama Colditz. The two main characters finally escape over the wall of the infamous POW camp, only to wake up in a worse one, a dreary place called Butlins. During the 1980s the BBC produced a satirical sitcom called High to High. Set in Maplins, a farcical holiday camp loosely styled on Butlins in its early days. Its producers and writers had themselves been redcoats at Butlins. More recently, a documentary series called Redcoats followed redcoats through their seasons at Butlins. In the film version of The Who's Tommy, there is a Bernese holiday camp where Tommy's mother meets her new husband. In the television show Lost, the character of Charlie Pace learns to swim with his father at a Butlins camp. The 1987 Doctor Who TV serial Delta and the Bannerman was filmed mainly at the Butlins holiday camp on Barry Island, Wales. The camp is referred to as the Shangri-La Holiday Camp, run by Butlin. Many books have been written about Butlins and its history, and about the life of Sir Billy Butlin. Some of the best known of these are, Red, Sue. Hello Campers. Bantam Press. ISBN 0-593-01039-6. Butlin, Sir Billy. The Billy Butlin Story, A Showman to the End. Robson Books. ISBN 0-86051-864-7. North, Rex. The Butlin Story. Gerald's. May, James. How to Land an Airbus A330. Hodder Paperbacks. ISBN 978-0-340-99458-0. There have also been a number of children's fiction books which include Butlins as a location or an integral part of the story. For example, Richards, Frank. Billy Bunter at Butlins. Castle. Creasy, John. The Toff at Butlins. London, Hodder and Staunton. See also, Haven Holidays, Holiday Camp, Pontins, Redcoats, Resort. References. External links, official website, Bygone Butlins, Butlins History, bbc.co.uk/. Somerset: The Minhead Meander, South Wales Echo story about Butlins' early career and first holiday camp, Bognor Regis Regeneration at Butlins, Butlins Memories.